Hey guys, you ever think you make trading too hard, harder than it needs to be? Well, so do I. And there are ridiculous profits to be had, ridiculous profits to be made. I'm going to show you some examples of what I could have done today. Now, overall, I had a pretty good day. I'm actually pretty happy with where I ended, especially because I started the week off bad. I started the week off with my worst loss yet since I started day trading full time, which I believe was 32 days ago now. Trading days, that is. So a little bit longer than that, but actual trading days. I started the week off with a $4,000 loss. However, I got all that back on Wednesday, made some money Thursday, made some money today. So I'm going to close the week off with about a $5,000 gain. Today's gain, by the way, is about $2,486, which I'll show you right here, which I'm kind of happy with overall. However, I could have easily made $10,000 to $15,000. I'll show you why. And talk about some market structure that I I was aware of, but I wasn't taking advantage and rushed into some stuff. I should have been more patient. I know better. So I could have had much better positions on the S&P as well as the triple Qs, the Nasdaq futures that is. Well, I play the futures instead of the QQQ ETF. The biggest trade though, and something like this doesn't happen that often, but if you're patient enough, you could get a 5 or a 10 bagger, especially on options expiration. So I'm going to show you the trade that I should have taken after I show you the structure and how I was trading the S&P futures. All right, I want to share a couple of trades. So this is the S&P, the futures, basically the S&P 500, and you'll kind of see how some of these play out in real time. I'm up over 2,000 bucks on the day, by the way. It's 12:58 p.m., almost 1 p.m. And all these lines, so you could buy it right here. It went slightly through. Here's another good support zone. But basically, I had just took a put position here. And the reason why I have this line, not just because right here, but if you look at, the 30-minute chart is very important. See how you had a bounce there, you had a bounce there, then it broke, support, it broke. But see, it's going to be resistance. Like, previous support does end up being resistance. That's not to say it can't get broken today, but that initial test from this new low probably won't break the first time. Here's another important line. You'll see this is actually kind of holding right now. You could go long right here. I'd do a small position. This is a much safer to go long if it gets that low. But here's another interesting thing too with market structure. And I could have timed this a lot better. I've seen it played out in real time, but I got in a lot of this stuff early. I still end up making money, but I could have made a lot more. And that's what we always want to do is get to the point where we make more. But if you look at this, here's something that I measured. The high of this to the low of this, and then when it retraced, basically crazy enough, and you can't really see the line that I drew, but I just duplicated this, threw it right here on that point, and look, that's pretty much the low. So you could have bought all in on this area and, projected a bounce at least to this level for one target, two targets, and then three targets. And again, I actually flipped. I flipped short right here. But see, look at this line. I told you we'd probably bounce. We did, initially slice through a little bit, but look, it's already kind of getting a bounce. I didn't take that play. I'd feel a lot safer if it went back down to this level. So anyway, that's just an example of I have all these lines on the chart, but you'll see how I'm playing them. And when you're looking at market structure, it's very interesting how this move from here to here is exactly the same size. So it gives you like good places for entry. And that's something for you guys to look out for in real time if you're day trading. If you're swing trading, look for moves like that on the daily or the 4-hour chart. You'll be amazed how often they play out. That I was talking about, up over 2,000, up 2,300. And if we look at, let's see. Yeah, see the S&Ps I made 1,075 on. Also play the NQs, which actually, I started playing those yesterday, man. I did very well on them, 2,525. Because when the Nasdaq futures were under 20,000. I just liked it. It got down to 19,765. I just liked it to go back up to 20 basically, and it these actually worked out quite well. So, I played a bunch of stocks too, man. I got absolutely killed on Costco. I'll tell you why. It was a stupid mistake on my end, down 1,700 in that place. So literally, I'd be up like 4 grand had I not played Costco. But essentially, I thought we'd backtest 1,000. It sliced right through in the morning. I didn't realize they did earnings, so there's no reason for it to backtest that number, because it was a significant event like earnings. So, I was stubbornly adding to it, even got a couple call options, and, I looked into it later. Guys, I'm managing so many trades in the morning. Now I looked into them like, oh, earnings. Yeah, they're not going to, they got as low as 942. I just exited at 950. It's like they're not going to do anything. Just eat that loss and make sure I don't jump into things like that next time. Every other stock, down a little bit, down a little bit, down a little bit. APP I did make money on. Every other stock sucked. It was really just the futures that I ended up making money on, both the S&P and the NASDAQ. Remember when I mentioned this line here, even though it slightly sliced through? Look at that, man. And now it broke through this. So I didn't play this like I mentioned. You could have snagged a quick scalp from here to here. Like, say you played 2 contracts on the SPY options or the ES. Take half your profit here. See how far it runs. I would probably take the other half here. And, set the stop about halfway so you don't just break even. You make a little bit on it while you already made some on the first half. See, this thing did actually play out. But see, it's kind of crazy how important these lines are, right? They're not just random, man. Like, the market respects them in a lot of ways, and these were drawn, before I even started trading today. Okay, so that entry I did mention on the S&P futures, you could have actually rode that up until it's 3:10 when I'm recording this video, so almost the rest of the day. It's hard to say where the market's going to be in 50 minutes, but you would have had a really nice gain, and you wouldn't have got stopped out trailing that stop, by the way. But anyway, let me show you a very easy play that somebody could have taken on Tesla. So if we look at the chart, I'm going to show you how this ties into the S&P 500, by the way, and also what the options did. This was a literal gift, especially that this happened on Friday when the weekly options expire. So if we look at the Tesla daily chart, for example, I mean, my goodness, it almost got up to 500. Now it's back. It got back down to 250 today. But if you look at this gap from November 4th, it closed roughly at around 250. See, I drew this support, which should be support. You should get an initial bounce off of that, which we did. I'm actually shocked it went this far, but it's due for a bounce. Now, if we look at the 5-minute chart, if we just zoom in here, you'll see the low was 250.73, and you had time to get in. Roughly 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. About a half hour to get in around this level, this really low level of consolidation. And if you cross-reference that in something that I had mentioned earlier on the ES, the S&P 500, Tesla bottomed around noon, around the same time, and I was talking about this structure in the market. So Tesla's big support gap fill coincided with what should have been the down move for now on the S&P. So you have like a couple things in alignment, right, that you could work off of. And then if you look at the Tesla options that expire today, for example, if you've played the 255 strike, you could have got as low as 1.58, $158 for a contract and sold it for up to 12. It's still even now going for 775. Now, obviously, you're not going to get the best entry or exit, but hypothetically, if you got in around 2, there's no reason why you couldn't have taken some off the table at 4, even holding for a lot more, obviously. That's an easy 5-bagger, man. And even the 260 strike, yeah, this was more than a 10-bagger. So you could really take advantage of these options that are expiring today at low prices, especially when you're going to get some kind of a bounce. You could get it like a double, triple, 5-bagger, 10-bagger off these kind of plays in relatively short order, because Tesla did bounce pretty nice on the 5-minute chart if you look at it. And you would have never been down on that trade, because had you got in any of this level, if you were down, you wouldn't have been down much because it just basically went up this whole time, consolidated here. So maybe you take profit here. It did pull back, but even, and it's coming back, but even any of that move, man, you would have doubled, tripled, quadrupled, 5x, 10x your money. So those are the kind of things you got to look out for, especially when it coincides on a bigger chart. Like you could have looked at it, the QQQs, you could look at the SPY, the S&P futures, for example. Everything was in alignment. And then again, if you look at the daily chart, you did finally fill that gap. I mean, that's already a screaming buy. So, and this will probably actually get back up to 3. This is probably actually a good level to swing trade, honestly. Maybe even about 325 is where I would peg it, possibly to the upside. So this is why we basically make trading way harder than it should be. If we're patient, if we wait for those kind of setups, you go in big on those, man, and you make a lot of money. So since I started day trading again, I started with a $30,000 account. I nearly doubled it. It's what is it? 59,739. So basically a couple $100 from doubling it. And that's in 32 trading days. I could have literally made half of what I made in 32 trading days in one day, today alone, had I played the Tesla like I should have, and had I actually had better time the S&P, because I was already watching the structure anyway. Anyway, if you like this kind of content, please subscribe. I'm sharing my journey, hopefully giving you guys some good tips along the way, like this kind of stuff that you can use. This is gold, by the way. So if you like it, if you enjoyed it, if you got some kind of benefit from it, just hit the like button and subscribe, please.